on day 13 and I've lost 25 pounds, and this used to be tight shirt is now fitting pretty slimly. The easiest way to lose 25 pounds in 13 days would have to be fasting. Now, it may sound like that's a difficult thing to do, but I can assure you that with Qigong, with this practice, it's actually, for me, it was actually even easier than trying to eat 3 meals a day. I felt better not eating anything than trying to eat like normal people or are taught to eat. Today, I'm going to discuss a super powerful method of multiplying your energy, charging your body with more energy. So in my Qigong for Weight Loss book, I covered this as one of the energy gathering techniques. And for me, this is one of the most powerful practices of Qigong that supports all of the other Qigong practices you're doing. Now this is a mental Qigong exercise, so it doesn't require anything physical. So I'm going to explain what this is, and it's a very easy thing to do. All you have to do is practice it. As you practice this, you're going to feel more and more benefits. The idea is you just have to do it. Sounds simple, but it's really extremely powerful in practice. So this in the book is known as Swirling Qi Expanding Variation. There's also a static variation that I'm going to explain in an upcoming video. So for the expanding variation, what we're doing is we're working with a Qi spiral, and this is one of the fundamental ideas in Spinning Universe Qigong, which will be covered in the Discovering Qi program, which follows this 21-day series. So it's the next thing that is coming to the Awaken Qi website. If this 21-day fast is already over, it's already going to be there for you. So in this practice, what we're doing is we're starting at the Dantian, and we're going to expand our energy outwardly, and then we're going to bring it back in. Through this process, we're multiplying the energy. So we're actually giving more energy to the universe. We're creating more potential in the external environment, and then we're multiplying our energy and bringing it back in. So this is a good practice to do at the end of any Qigong practice. So whenever you build up a bunch of energy in Qigong, what you typically will do is you build a bunch of energy in different parts of your body. So you'll have different energy in your Shenji palace, which is your center of your brain. You'll have energy built up in your heart center. You'll have energy built up in your Dantian. And at the end of every Qigong practice, we typically will have our hands on our Dantian like this to draw the energy back to the Dantian. And then we focus on the Dantian and take the energy that's built up in our body to store in the Dantian. And then what we can do with all of that extra energy is we can do the expanding variation of Swirling Qi. So we can take all that energy that we built and we can multiply it and then store it back at that higher multiple. So this version is a good closing process to any type of Qigong you're doing. So if from yesterday you're doing the Bigu breathing technique, at the end of that you can actually do this. So in the closing of any Qigong practice, when you're focused on the Dantian, you can actually do this expanding variation of Swirling Qi. So how it works is like this. So in your mind, the first thing you do is connect with your Dantian, this little point about 2 inches below your belly button and about 2 inches inside. So the reason why we practiced in the earlier part of this video series, connecting to the Dantian, is so that your mind can locate that point. If you haven't developed a strong relationship between your mind and the Dantian, you can just imagine that point without completely feeling it, but you want to go back and do those exercises that mention Dantian. In this blog post, you can look at the links. I'll link to each one of those, the ones that we've covered prior to this. Do those exercises to build that awareness. So you want to mentally connect with the Dantian to where you can feel it. And then Just like with the hand positions, if you're a male, you want the left hand first, female, right hand first. Well, in this exercise, the men are going to expand outward clockwise first, and then they're going to come back in, reverse the direction counterclockwise. Females expand outwardly counterclockwise, and then back in clockwise. So that's an important distinction. I'll say it one more time. You can always rewind the video. Men expand outwardly clockwise, inwardly counterclockwise. Females, you do counterclockwise first, back in clockwise. That would be good. If you're wondering why that is, you can leave a comment and I'll be happy to answer that question. I'll explain in a later video why that is. So we connect with the Dantian. Now I'm going to use my finger as an illustration. I'm going to use just my index fingertip as an illustration. However, in this exercise you do not use your actual finger. You can mentally imagine your finger. And for me, I don't really imagine a finger. I just imagine kind of a point. And I trace that point in my mind. You can mentally imagine your finger doing this if it helps you to trace that point. Get the best sense of it as you can. If you can't picture the finger and you can't picture a point, then just try to picture, a rotation. Try to get a sense of that. So here's the simple yet extremely powerful process. Imagine a point starting at your Dantian, and during this you want to keep sense of two things. You want to keep a sense of this fingertip, this imaginary point, it's kind of the leading edge of this spiral. And at the same time, you always want to focus on the Dantian. So you can feel the Dantian and you can feel this point expanding outwardly. And what you're going to do is you're going to mentally start tracing these outward circles that move forward in a spiral pattern. So you're going to start, if you're a male, clockwise, female, counterclockwise. You're going to circle out, and I'll illustrate what we're imagining with my finger. So you're going to circle out one little circle, and then a bigger circle, and then a bigger circle, and that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you keep imagining this point. You're focused on the point, and you're focused on the point of the Dantian, and you're feeling, as this point circles further, you're feeling the whole thing twist. The whole, it's one big line that you're drawing. So you're kind of keeping sense of that line, although you don't have to necessarily pay attention to the line you've drawn the whole time. But you've drawn this energy line, and it's this spinning outwardly thing that as this circle gets bigger, you can just imagine that that's kind of like a weight, because as this circle gets bigger, it's connected to the Dantian. So there's this greater powerful force. It's like a heavier weight that's actually twisting that little point of the Dantian. As these circles get bigger, it actually twists this little point tighter, because it's it's a bigger radius to the circle, so that just weighs a little more. And you imagine, for starters, you can imagine this going outwardly. You want to take it out as far mentally as you can. So you want to go 36 circles outward. And as you imagine them getting bigger and bigger, they start off really small, and then they get bigger, and then they get as big as your body, and then they get as big as the room, and then they go outside and they get as big, as a building, and then they get as big as the sky, right? Like it's still in the atmosphere. Then you can expand in 36 revolutions. You could probably make it to the sun. Okay, so we want to spin out 36 times, getting bigger and bigger. And then when you hit number 36, you pause for a moment, reverse the direction, and now we're going to start spinning back. So if we were spinning out clockwise, when we hit 36, we're going to pause for a moment and then reverse the direction, and we're going to come back in counterclockwise. But we're going to come back in faster. We're going to come back in not 36. We're going to come back in 24 revolutions. So there's a ratio of 3 to 2 here. So when we come back in, we're circling faster, because in that same time and distance it took to get to 36, we're going to bring it back in 24. So you just, the speed is quicker, so you just bring the speed back in faster. And, as you start to get to 10 or 5, you just bring it back closer to this room. It doesn't have to be perfectly even, but as evenly as you can imagine it. So you expand out 36 to the sun, pause for a second, reverse direction, and then you bring it back in 24 times more quickly, and then at that last instant, the whole spiral pattern actually turns into a point and just goes into the Dantian. Now, with some practice, you will definitely be able to feel this. You'll feel the energy expanding out. You'll feel the Dantian sort of like tightening, twisting, and then when you bring it back in, you're going to pull this energy in so quickly that you're going to feel like a mini rush and an overflow of energy that just jolts through your body. A lot of energy, most of it will rush into the Dantian, but there's going to be this little bit of shock wave that, for all the energy that just doesn't quite fit, I'm going to give you this nice, powerful energy boost that you're going to feel in your body. So for starters, practice with 36 times. You can do this as its own exercise, just for expanding your energy. Try this, when it's not at the end of any kind of Qigong. Just try it on its own. You can practice this anytime, anywhere. And then you can also make it the end of any Qigong practice. When we bring the energy back to the Dantian, you can actually go through this 36 times out, 24 times in. Once you get comfortable doing that, it may be the first time where this seems easy to you, or maybe you have to practice a little bit to do it properly. But once you feel like you've got it, then you can do higher numbers. You can expand it out 72 times and bring it back in 54 times. Work on this until you can do 108. So you want to expand it out 108 times. You can go beyond the sun if you want to. Just pick a place like maybe the whole Milky Way galaxy and try to imagine as much detail along the way as possible. This is going to help you with your concentration. So, expand out to the sun and then maybe out to Saturn, Jupiter, the other planets, and then eventually make your way to the entire Milky Way galaxy. In 108 revolutions, there's plenty of time to do that. And then the 2/3 multiple of 108 is 72. Bring it back in 72. The more revolutions you spin outward and then bring it back in, the more powerful the energy that you're multiplying here. And when I first started doing this, this was the main thing. I would just do this throughout the day as many times as I wanted to. I was eating Qi burgers, which is another technique from the Qigong for Weight Loss book. And I was doing this. I was still doing my daily, probably about a half hour, 40-minute daily Qigong practice, but I was doing this stuff all day. And I was just wired with energy. I was full of energy, had no appetite, felt great, and I really just developed that ability to send energy to my Dantian. So practice this. This is one of the coolest, most useful things you're ever going to learn. It's that powerful. So go back and rewatch this video if you want to learn how to do it more. Or get the Qigong for Weight Loss book. It includes this technique, and it includes several other useful energy gathering techniques, as well as meditations and breathing techniques for weight loss and just for high energy living, even if you don't want to lose weight. If you've been finding value in these videos, subscribe to my channel because I'm coming out with new videos every day, and every day you learn a little bit more. This is a big topic with lots to learn, and over time you just get one little nugget, it builds, and then you start to have a wealth of information, whereas a lot of other channels might just give you random good ideas. This is actually all designed to fit together as one system. So I'm only sharing things here that fit together as a big piece of the puzzle. So subscribe, and if you feel that this energy has been beneficial to you, then like it, comment it, and share it, because that helps me to get this message out to more people. Tomorrow is 2 weeks, 14 days without food. I'll be sharing new insights, new strategies and methods for doing Qigong, and I'll see you tomorrow. How la.